The Galactic Council's chambers fell silent as Ambassador Kelran of the Astrian Federation stepped forward. His blue skin seemed paler than usual as he delivered the bad news. The Voidborn horde had taken over 3 more star systems in just 1 month. Their ships had destroyed all defenses with cruel speed, leaving only burned worlds behind. The Centauri defense line has fallen, Kelran said, his skin's natural glow dimming with worry. Our best fleet was destroyed in less than 6 hours. Around the large round table, leaders from 17 different alien civilizations looked at each other with fear. The Voidborn were a species that evolved in the darkness between stars. They ate everything in their path. For 30 years, the allied races had fought them to a draw, but now they were losing ground fast. Admiral Zorax of the Quillian Armada stood up. Her hard, crystal-like outer shell caught the room's light. We must face the truth. Our forces are spread too thin. Without new allies or better weapons, we cannot hold our position for another year. No one spoke for a long time. Then Grand Minister Olthax cleared his throat. There is one option we haven't tried. Everyone turned to look at him. The humans. Whispers spread across the chamber. The primitives from Sol? Commander Drex laughed. They barely have colonies beyond their home planet. Yet they have built those colonies very quickly, Olthax replied. And their warriors. He paused. They fight unlike any species we have ever seen. The council members remembered the fight with human forces 5 years ago. It had been a mistake, a misunderstanding, but it had shown something special about the soldiers from Earth. They had a fighting spirit that made no sense to the aliens. The humans kept fighting when any reasonable being would give up. I suggest we ask the United Earth government to help us, said Olthax. We need their soldiers. The council voted. Despite doubts, fear won out. Ambassador Kelran would leave right away for Earth with the Galactic Council's formal request for military help. In the dark of space, the Voidborn kept moving forward, not knowing that the war was about to change. General Leroy Johnson tried to keep a straight face as he looked at the alien group in front of him. After years of wondering if humans were alone in the universe, first contact had finally happened. But it came as a desperate plea for help in a war. Let me make sure I understand, Johnson said, leaning forward in his chair in the Pentagon meeting room. Your Galactic Council speaks for 17 different alien civilizations, all with better technology than Earth. Yet you're losing a war and think our soldiers could help you win. Ambassador Kelran's translation device made a soft noise. We have watched your species. Your ability to adapt and your fighting instinct are unusual. Lieutenant Karen Martinez, the youngest officer in the room, looked at Colonel Sam Reeves. The alien's careful choice of words was clear to both of them. What Ambassador Kelran means, Admiral Zorax said, is that humans fight with a strength our species cannot match. Your body's response to danger, what you call adrenaline, along with your drive to protect each other, creates warriors unlike any we've met. President Olivia Wright stayed quiet, thinking about what this meant. After a while, she spoke. If these Voidborn are as dangerous as you say, what's stopping them from eventually finding Earth? Nothing, Kelran admitted. Your world is exactly the kind of resource-rich planet they look for. The room went silent as everyone realized what this meant. This wasn't just about helping aliens, it was about humanity's survival. We'll need time to think about this, President Wright finally said, and we'll want to see your battle data. Over the next 3 days, Earth's military leaders reviewed the information from the Galactic Council. The Voidborn threat was even worse than described. A hive mind species that consumed all organic and mineral resources, leaving dead planets behind. In a historic speech, President Wright announced humanity's decision to the world. Today, we join a larger community of thinking beings, not as explorers or diplomats, but as warriors fighting against extinction. The first group of the newly formed United Earth Defense Force will leave with the alien delegation within the week. As military volunteers flooded recruitment centers worldwide, no one yet understood just how important humanity's entry into the Galactic War would become. Captain Greg Nelson watched from the bridge of the UES Valiant as Earth shrank to a blue dot in the distance. As the commanding officer of the first human warship to leave the solar system, he felt the weight of history on his shoulders. "Course is set, Captain," said Lieutenant Maria Rodriguez from the navigation station. "The alien vessels are ready for jump when we are." Nelson nodded. Their ship, a converted nuclear submarine carrier, had been fitted with alien technology in just 2 months. The rush job showed in the odd mix of human and alien systems throughout the vessel. "All hands prepare for our first faster-than-light jump," Nelson announced over the ship's comm system. "We're making history today, people. First humans to travel to another star system." The ship hummed as the alien drive system powered up. Through the view screen, Nelson saw the stars stretch and blur. His stomach turned as space itself seemed to bend around them. Then in a flash, they were somewhere else entirely. A red giant star dominated the view with several planets visible in orbit. But it was the space fleet that took Nelson's breath away. Thousands of ships of different shapes and sizes filled the area around the fourth planet. "Welcome to Proxima Station," Ambassador Kelrin said, his translator making his alien voice sound almost human. "The main base of the Allied fleet." As the Valiant approached the massive space station, Nelson could see ships coming and going, some damaged, others being refitted. This was a war fleet, actively fighting a losing battle. The Valiant docked, and Nelson led the first group of human officers into the alien station. Creatures of all shapes and sizes stopped to stare at the newcomers. Some looked almost human, others were completely alien, floating gas clouds, crystalline beings, insect-like creatures. Admiral Zorax met them at the main command center, OMASE, vast room with a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy at its center. Red areas showed void-borne control, blue showed Allied territory, and purple showed contested space. There was far too much red. "The void-borne have taken another system while we were retrieving you," Zorax said without greeting. "They are now only 3 jumps from your solar system." Nelson felt a chill. "How soon can we deploy?" "Your soldiers need training with our weapons," Zorax replied. "But there is no time. The Proxima 4 moon base is under attack. We need reinforcements now." Nelson looked at his fellow officers, seeing the same determination in their eyes that he felt. "We didn't come all this way to sit on the sidelines," he said. "The 1st Earth Battalion is ready to deploy." As the human soldiers prepared for their first battle against the Voidborn, news spread through the station. The primitives from Earth had arrived. Few of the alien allies believed it would make any difference. The Voidborn had overwhelmed every defense thrown at them. They had no idea what humanity was about to show them. No amount of training could have prepared Lieutenant Frank Miller for the reality of space combat. His team of 40 soldiers sat nervously in the alien dropship as it flew toward the moon of Proxima 4, where an important communications center was under attack. "Remember what we learned," Miller shouted over the roar of the engines. "The Voidborn don't feel pain or fear. They are connected to a hive mind. If you kill one, the others will know where you are." Next to him, Sergeant Diana Powell checked her new plasma rifle, a mix of human gun design with alien energy technology. "Good thing is they still bleed when shot, sir, just like everything else." The ship shook violently as enemy fire hit their shields. 30 seconds until we land," the alien pilot announced through the speaker. Miller looked at the faces of his soldiers, the first humans to fight an alien enemy. He saw fear there, but something stronger too. Determination. "Earth is watching, soldiers," he shouted. "Let's show the galaxy what humans can do." The dropship's doors opened to chaos. The Voidborn swarmed across the lunar surface, 6-legged creatures with long heads and no visible eyes. They moved with terrifying speed, overwhelming a group of alien defenders. "Open fire," Miller ordered, and 40 human weapons fired at once. The Voidborn reacted instantly, dozens changing direction to attack the new threat. But unlike the orderly retreat their alien allies usually did when outnumbered, the humans stood their ground. Private Jack Henderson was the first human to fall, hit by a Voidborn spike that pierced his armor. Powell dragged him to safety while still shooting with one hand, a move that clearly confused the hive-minded attackers. They don't understand why we protect each other, Miller realized. Use it. Two-person teams. Take turns moving forward. What followed would later be studied in military schools across the galaxy. The human team didn't just hold their position. They advanced, step by step, clearing a path to the communication center while taking losses that would have broken the spirit of any council species. When help finally arrived 12 hours later, they found 23 surviving humans defending the center, surrounded by hundreds of dead Voidborn. Lieutenant Miller, despite a bad injury, was still directing the defense from a makeshift command post. The alien commanders stared in disbelief. You were outnumbered at least 15-1. How did you hold on? Miller, tired and bloody, managed a grim smile. Because retreat wasn't an option, sir. We had people to protect. News of the miracle at Proxima spread through Council space quickly. For the first time in years, something precious began to grow among the allied species. Hope. Back on the main space station, Admiral Zorax reviewed the battle footage with Captain Nelson. The images showed human soldiers fighting in ways that made no sense to the alien commander. Your Lieutenant Miller violated standard battle doctrine, Zorax said. When outnumbered, the logical move is to retreat and preserve forces. Nelson shook his head. Humans don't always do the logical thing, Admiral. Sometimes we do the necessary thing. That communication center was too important to lose. You lost almost half your soldiers, Zorax pointed out, and saved hundreds of your people, Nelson replied. That's a trade we're willing to make. Zorax's crystalline features showed no emotion, but her voice softened. Perhaps we have underestimated your species, Captain Nelson. Over the next few weeks, more human forces arrived from Earth. The United Earth Defense Force grew to over 10,000 soldiers, spread across the front lines of the war. Everywhere they went, human troops brought their unique style of fighting. They took risks alien commanders would never allow. They improvised when plans failed. Most importantly, they never gave up. On the planet Vega III, a mixed team of humans and Astrians found themselves cut off behind enemy lines. The alien troops wanted to surrender, seeing no logical way out. But Major Lisa Cook had another idea. We're going to steal one of their ships, she told the shocked Astrian officer. Impossible, he replied. The Voidborn ships are biologically linked to their pilots. Cook smiled. Then we'll steal a pilot too. Using tactics from old Earth guerrilla warfare, Cook's team captured a small Voidborn scout ship and its pilot. While the Astrians kept the pilot alive in a stasis field, human engineers figured out how to tap into the ship's control system. They escaped the planet with valuable intelligence about Voidborn fleet movements. Word of these human victories spread through the alien fleet. At first, many alien commanders resisted human methods as too risky or illogical. But as more battles were won against impossible odds, attitudes began to change. Grand Minister Ulthax addressed the Galactic Council 6 months after the humans joined the war. The galactic map behind him showed something new, areas of red Voidborn territory that had turned back to Allied blue. For the first time in this 30-year war, we are not just holding ground, we are taking it back, Ulthax announced. The human forces now make up less than 5% of our military, but they have been involved in over 30% of our victories. Ambassador Kelrin stood. I move that we officially elevate Earth to full council status, with all the technology sharing and protection that comes with it. The vote was unanimous. Earth would no longer be seen as a primitive world of useful warriors, but as an equal partner in the galactic community. On the front lines, Colonel Vincent Rodriguez briefed his squadron on their next mission. The holographic display showed a massive Voidborn ship, nearly the size of a small moon. That's the regional control node, Rodriguez explained. Our alien friends say it can't be destroyed. The defenses are too strong for a direct attack. The soldiers waited, knowing Rodriguez well enough to expect more. But they haven't tried a human approach yet, he continued with a smile. We're going to hit it from underneath. Lieutenant Tracy Bennett raised an eyebrow. Sir, that ship is floating in space. There is no underneath in zero gravity. Exactly, Rodriguez replied. They'll never expect us to attack from that direction. Using new stealth technology, Rodriguez's team approached the massive void-borne vessel from its ventral side, where few defenses were placed. They planted high-yield explosive charges at key structural points, then retreated to a safe distance. The resulting explosion didn't destroy the node ship, but it crippled it badly enough that the main Allied fleet could move in to finish the job. When the ship finally broke apart, thousands of smaller void-borne vessels suddenly lost coordination, becoming easy targets. It was the largest single victory in the war so far, and it was done using a simple human concept. In space, directions, like up and down, are just a matter of perspective. As Rodriguez's team returned to base, a message was waiting from Earth. President Wright had approved the next phase of the war effort. Operation Thunderstrike would begin in 3 weeks, a bold, multi-front attack aimed at pushing the Voidborn back to their home system. For the first time since the war began, the aliens were starting to believe that victory might be possible after all. Operation Thunderstrike began with the largest coordinated attack in the history of the Galactic War. Over 2,000 ships from 17 alien species, plus the growing human fleet, jumped into void-borne space at the same time. They attacked, from multiple directions, hitting 20 different targets at once. The void-borne, used to fighting enemies who followed logical patterns, were caught off guard. Their hive mind struggled to respond to so many threats at once. For the first time, the endless swarm of enemy ships seemed confused. General Leroy Johnson watched from the command ship as battle reports came in. Now promoted to Supreme Commander of Human Forces, he had designed this battle plan against the advice of many alien strategists. Conventional tactics have failed for 30 years, he had told the Galactic Council. The Voidborn expect us to be predictable, so let's be unpredictable. Beside him, Admiral Zorax monitored the holographic battle display. 3 primary targets already neutralized, she reported. Voidborn response time is slower than anticipated. Johnson nodded. That's because we're making them think in too many places at once. Their hive mind has limits. The main thrust of Operation Thunderstrike was aimed at the Vega sector, where the Voidborn had built massive processing facilities. These planet-sized factories turned conquered worlds into more ships and soldiers. Destroying them would cripple the enemy's ability to replace their losses. But the true key to the operation was happening elsewhere, far from the main battles. A small team of human and alien special forces had slipped past the distracted Voidborn defenses in a stolen enemy ship. Their target, a mysterious signal source deep in Voidborn territory. Colonel Vincent Rodriguez led this mission personally. His team included Lieutenant Tracy Bennett and a small group of specialists, along with 2 alien scientists who understood Voidborn biology. Our allies have been fighting these creatures for decades, Rodriguez told his team during the approach, but they've never tried to understand how the hive mind actually works. They assumed it was unbeatable. Bennett checked her equipment one last time. But you think differently, sir? Humans have a long history of fighting things stronger than ourselves, Rodriguez replied. We win by finding the weak point. Everything has one. Their stolen ship passed through the outer defenses without challenge. The Voidborn were too busy responding to the massive attack elsewhere. The small team landed on a barren, rocky planet, orbiting a dying star. Sensors showed strange energy patterns coming from beneath the surface. Using specialized drilling equipment, they broke through the planet's crust. What they found beneath shocked even the alien scientists. A vast pulsing organic mass filled an underground cavity miles wide. Thin tendrils stretched out in all directions, connecting to what looked like communication nodes. That's it, whispered Dr. Zal, one of the alien scientists. The primary node of the Voidborn hive mind, the source of their coordination. Rodriguez studied the massive organic computer. Will our plan work? Dr. Zal nodded slowly. The virus we created should disrupt their communication patterns, but someone will need to get to the central node to inject it directly. The team looked at the bubbling mass of alien tissue. Getting close enough to inject anything would be nearly suicide. I'll do it, Bennett said before anyone else could speak. Rodriguez frowned. Lieutenant, I can't order you to— You're not ordering me, sir, she interrupted. I'm volunteering. The plan was simple but dangerous. Bennett would approach the central node wearing a protective suit. The rest of the team would create a diversion to draw away any Voidborn guardians. Once at the node, Bennett would inject the biological virus designed to scramble the hive mind signals. As they prepared, Dr. Zell explained what might happen. If this works, the Voidborn across the galaxy will temporarily lose their connection to each other. They won't be able to coordinate their attacks or defense, but they will still be dangerous individual creatures. Rodriguez nodded. We don't need to kill them all. We just need to break their advantage. The mission began well. The diversion worked, drawing away the strange, eyeless creatures that guarded the hive node. Bennett moved quickly toward the central mass, carrying the virus in a specialized injector. But halfway to her target, something changed. The ground beneath her feet began to tremble. The entire hive seemed to sense the threat. They know we're here, Bennett reported through her comm. Something's happening. The organic mass began to pulse faster. Tendrils whipped through the air, around her. One caught her leg, yanking her off her feet. Bennett! Rodriguez shouted into his comm. Get out of there! Through the static, her voice came back calm but strained. Too late for that, sir, but I can still complete the mission. Despite being caught by the tendrils, Bennett fought her way forward, crawling toward the central node. More tendrils wrapped around her, squeezing her protective suit to its limits. With one final effort, she plunged the injector into the pulsing center of the mass. The effect was immediate. The tendrils holding her went limp. The pulsing rhythm of the hive mind became erratic. Throughout the chamber, the guardian creatures began to twitch and stumble as if suddenly blind. Rodriguez and his team rushed forward, fighting through the confused guardians to reach Bennett. They found her still alive but badly injured. As they carried her back to their ship, the entire underground chamber began to collapse. We need to go now, Dr. Zell shouted. The virus is spreading faster than expected. This entire facility is failing. They barely escaped as the planet's surface began to crack apart. From orbit, they watched as massive explosions erupted across the dying world. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the effect of their mission rippled through the Voidborn forces. In the midst of Operation Thunderstrike, thousands of enemy ships suddenly lost formation. They stopped responding to each other's movements. Some even began firing on their own kind in confusion. On the command ship, General Johnson watched in amazement as the battle display showed Voidborn forces falling into chaos. What's happening? Admiral Zorax asked. A communication officer turned from his station. Sir, we're receiving a message from Colonel Rodriguez's team. They've successfully disrupted the Voidborn hive mind. For the first time in 30 years of war, the Voidborn were vulnerable. Without their perfect coordination, they fought like individual creatures rather than a single intelligent force. All forces advance, Johnson ordered. This is our chance to end this war. The Allied fleet pushed forward, taking advantage of the enemy's confusion. Ships that had been fighting defensively for decades now attacked with renewed purpose. Victory, once thought impossible, now seemed within reach. As the battle raged, Rodriguez's team rushed back to Allied space with their wounded comrade and vital information about the Voidborn hive mind. Lieutenant Bennett's sacrifice had changed the course of the war, but the fight was far from over. Lieutenant Tracy Bennett woke up in a medical bay 3 days after the mission. Her body was covered in healing patches where the Voidborn tendrils had wrapped around her. Colonel Rodriguez sat beside her bed, reading reports on a small screen. Did it work? Bennett asked, her voice weak but determined. Rodriguez looked up with a smile. Better than we expected. The virus didn't just confuse them, it spread through their entire network. The Voidborn forces across 5 sectors are still in chaos. Bennett tried to sit up but winced in pain. So we won? Not yet, Rodriguez said, his smile fading. But for the first time, we have a real chance. The Voidborn are trying to rebuild their hive mind. We have maybe 2 weeks before they recover. On the main command ship, General Johnson met with the leaders of the Galactic Council. The holographic display showed the current state of the war. Large areas of former Voidborn, Territory now marked in Allied blue. Operation Thunderstrike has been more successful than we hoped, Johnson told the assembled aliens. But our victory is temporary. The Voidborn are already adapting to the loss of their main hive node. They're creating smaller, independent networks. Grand. Minister Ulthax nodded gravely. Our scientists say the same thing. The Voidborn collective intelligence cannot be permanently destroyed, only disrupted. Then we need to hit them again, Johnson said. Harder this time. We need to strike at their homeworld. The chamber erupted in protest. The Voidborn home system was the most heavily defended area in the galaxy. No Allied ship had ever returned from there. Admiral Zorax raised her crystalline hand for silence. General Johnson, I respect your species' courage, but this would be suicide. The Voidborn homeworld has defenses beyond anything we've encountered. Johnson nodded. I understand the risks, but right now, the Voidborn are vulnerable. Their ships aren't coordinating properly. Their defense systems are operating at reduced capacity. If we wait for them to recover, we might not get another chance. After hours of debate, the Council finally agreed to Johnson's plan. A massive fleet would attack the Voidborn home system directly. It would be the largest military operation in galactic history. As preparations began, Rodriguez visited Bennett in the medical bay again. She was recovering quickly, thanks to advanced alien medical technology. They've approved Operation Final Strike, he told her. We're going to hit the Voidborn homeworld in 5 days. Bennett sat up straighter. I want to be part of it. Rodriguez shook his head. You've done enough, Lieutenant. You need to rest. With respect, sir, I've seen the hive mind up close, Bennett argued. I know how it works, how it thinks. You'll need that knowledge. After some debate, the doctors cleared Bennett for light duty. She joined the planning team, using her first-hand experience to help design the attack. The plan was daring, even by human standards. While the main fleet engaged the Voidborn defenses, a small strike team would slip through to the surface of the homeworld. There, they would deploy a more powerful version of the virus directly into the planetary hive network. The homeworld is essentially one giant brain, Bennett explained to the strike team. Every Voidborn in the galaxy is connected to it. If we can corrupt the source, we might not just confuse them. We might break their connection permanently. Captain Greg Nelson, now commanding the upgraded UES Valiant, would lead the main attack. His ship had been retrofitted with the best alien technology, making it one of the fastest vessels in the Allied fleet. Our job is to make so much noise that they don't notice the strike team, Nelson told his crew. We'll hit their orbital defenses from multiple angles, drawing their attention away from the planet's surface. As the day of the attack approached, a solemn mood fell over the Allied forces. Everyone understood the stakes and the likely cost. Many ships would not return from this mission. The night before the operation, Rodriguez found Bennett in the observation deck looking out at the assembled fleet. Thousands of ships stretched as far as the eye could see, representing every species in the Galactic Alliance. Quite a sight, Rodriguez said, joining her at the window. Bennett nodded. A month ago, these species were barely cooperating. Now, they're fighting together like they've been allies for centuries. Funny how a common enemy brings people together, Rodriguez replied. It's more than that, Bennett said quietly. It's hope. We showed them that the Voidborn could be hurt. That changed everything. Rodriguez looked at the fleet again, noting how many of the alien ships had adopted human-style modifications, irregular armor patterns, unpredictable engine configurations, anything to make them less predictable to the Voidborn. Whatever happens tomorrow, he said, humanity has already changed the galaxy. The attack began at Oro 600 Standard Time. The Allied fleet jumped into the Voidborn home system, immediately facing intense resistance. The space around the dark, clouded planet was filled with enemy ships and automated defense platforms. Captain Nelson's Valiant led the first wave, targeting the largest defense station. All weapons fire at will, he ordered. Draw their attention. The battle quickly became the most intense of the war. Voidborn ships swarmed from the planet's surface, attacking in greater numbers than the Allies had ever seen. But without their perfect coordination, the swarms were less effective. Individual ships could be isolated and destroyed. As the main battle raged in orbit, Rodriguez led the strike team toward the planet in a small, stealth-equipped shuttle. Bennett sat beside him, monitoring the virus delivery system. "Enemy sensors are focused on the main fleet," she reported. "Our approach is still clear." The shuttle broke through the cloudy atmosphere, revealing the true horror of the void-born world below. The entire planet was covered in organic structures, massive towers and caverns, all pulsing with the same rhythm. There were no oceans, no forests, just the endless expanse of void-born tissue. "Find us a landing zone near one of those main nodes," Rodriguez ordered the pilot. They set down near a massive pulsing tower that seemed to be pumping energy into the planet's network. The strike team deployed quickly, setting up defenses around their shuttle. Bennett led a smaller group toward the tower, carrying the virus payload. "Remember, we only get one shot at this," she told her team. "Once we start the injection process, every voidborn on this planet will know we're here." As they approached the tower, they saw no guards, no defenses. The voidborn were so confident in their orbital protection that they had never considered an enemy might reach the surface. "Bennett, set up the injection device on the pulsing wall of the tower. Initiating virus upload now," she announced into her comm. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The pulsing rhythm of the tower faltered, then began to speed up erratically. Across the horizon, they could see other structures changing their patterns as well. "It's working," Bennett reported. "The virus is spreading through their network." Rodriguez's voice came through her comm urgently. "Get back here now. We're detecting movement all across the surface." As Bennett's team ran back toward the shuttle, the ground beneath them began to shift and break apart. From below, thousands of void-born creatures emerged. Not the soldier types they had fought before, but smaller, simpler forms. Without the guidance of the hive mind, they acted on basic instinct, attacking anything unfamiliar. The strike team fought their way back to the shuttle, losing 2 soldiers in the process. As they lifted off, they could see the chaos spreading across the planet. The organic structures were collapsing, turning on each other as the virus corrupted their communication. In orbit, the battle suddenly shifted. The void-born ships stopped, their coordinated attacks, many drifting aimlessly or firing at random targets. Some even began to attack each other. "The strike team did it," Nelson announced to his crew as the reports came in. "All forces, press the advantage." The Allied fleet surged forward, systematically destroying the confused enemy ships. After hours of intense fighting, the space around the void-born homeworld was clear of enemy forces. As Rodriguez's shuttle rejoined the fleet, Bennett looked back at the planet below. The surface was breaking apart, massive explosions visible even from space. "We didn't just disrupt them this time," she said quietly. "We destroyed them." The victory was complete, but the cost had been high. Nearly a third of the Allied fleet had been lost in the battle. But for the first time in 30 years, the galaxy was free from the void-born threat. What no one realized yet was that this was just the beginning of humanity's role in galactic affairs. 1 year after the fall of the void-born, the Galactic Council gathered for a special ceremony. The Great Chamber was filled with representatives from all 18 species, including the newest members, humans from Earth. President Olivia Wright stood at the center of the chamber facing the assembled delegates. Behind her stood the heroes of the war, General Johnson, Captain Nelson, Colonel Rodriguez, and Lieutenant Bennett, now promoted to captain. 1 year ago, our combined forces achieved what many thought impossible. President Wright began. The defeat of the void-born threat that had plagued this galaxy for 3 decades. Today we gather not just to celebrate that victory, but to look toward a shared future. Grand Minister Ulthax stepped forward, holding a crystal sphere that glowed with inner light. For centuries, this has been the symbol of membership in the Galactic Council. Today we formally present it to Earth, no longer as an emergency ally, but as a permanent member of our galactic family. As Wright accepted the sphere, applause echoed through the chamber. The humans had arrived as desperate reinforcements in a losing war. Now they were respected partners in peace. After the ceremony, Bennett found herself looking out at the stars from the observation deck of the space station. The view was different now. Ships from various species moved peacefully between planets and stations. Trade had replaced warfare. Rodriguez joined her at the window. "Quite a change from when we first saw this place," he said. Bennett nodded. "Hard to believe it's only been 18 months since we left Earth for the first time. And now we have ships traveling to 20 different star systems," Rodriguez said. "The alien technology has changed everything for us. The sharing of knowledge had indeed transformed human society. The faster-than-light drives that once seemed magical were now built in Earth's orbital shipyards. Medical technology from the Astrians had cured diseases that had plagued humanity for centuries. Clean energy systems from the Quillians had ended Earth's dependence on fossil fuels. In return, humanity had shared its own unique gifts. Human creativity, adaptability, and determination had impressed their alien allies. Earth's art, music, and culture spread throughout the Alliance, bringing new ideas to civilizations thousands of years older than human history. Captain Nelson approached them, now wearing the uniform of the United Galactic Fleet, a new, combined force that included ships and crews from all allied species. "There you are," he said. "The Council is asking for you both. Something about a new mission." In the council chamber, Admiral Zorax welcomed them. Over the past year, she had become one of humanity's strongest supporters in galactic politics. "We have a situation that requires your unique approach," she told them, activating a holographic display. It showed a distant star system near the edge of the galaxy. "This is the Zalon system. 3 days ago, we lost contact with our research outpost there." The display zoomed in to show a small planet orbiting a red dwarf star. The outpost was studying unusual energy readings from beneath the planet's surface. Before contact was lost, they sent this message. The hologram changed to show a frightened alien scientist. "We found something down there. Some kind of ancient technology. It's waking up and it's not friendly. We need help, Emmett." The message cut off abruptly. General Johnson studied the display. "What do we know about this planet?" "Very little," Zorax admitted. "It was considered uninhabited until our researchers found ruins indicating an advanced civilization once lived there. A civilization that vanished millions of years ago." Bennett and Rodriguez exchanged glances. They had seen enough war already, but they both recognized the importance of this mission. "You want us to investigate," Rodriguez said. It wasn't a question. Zorax nodded. "Your experience with the Voidborn proved that humans have a unique ability to face unknown threats. The Council is assembling a team, the best from each of our species." President Wright stepped forward. "This is voluntary, of course. You've all done more than enough for the Alliance already." Bennett didn't hesitate. "I'll go. Whatever this is, we need to understand it." Rodriguez nodded his agreement. "If there's another threat out there, better to face it now than wait for it to find us." Within a week, a new ship was prepared. The UGS Discovery, the first vessel designed and built by the combined knowledge of all 18 species. Its crew included experts from every member of the Alliance, but its captain was human, Greg Nelson. "Welcome aboard," Nelson said as Bennett and Rodriguez stepped onto the bridge. "Seems we're not done making history yet." The Discovery departed with little fanfare, heading for the distant Zalon system. As they prepared for the jump to faster-than-light speed, Bennett looked at the diverse crew working together on the bridge. Crystalline Quillians, blue-skinned Astrians, gaseous Valari, and a dozen other species alongside human officers. "You know," she said to Rodriguez, "a year and a half ago I was a lieutenant in a submarine on Earth, never having seen an alien. Now look at us." Rodriguez smiled. "That's the thing about humanity. We adapt quickly." Nelson gave the order, and the Discovery jumped into FTL speed, heading toward whatever mystery awaited them. Back on Earth, changes continued at an amazing pace. The first human colony on a planet outside the solar system was established. A new generation of children grew up learning about alien worlds as casually as they once learned about countries on Earth. Universities offered courses in xenobiology and interstellar politics. In a classroom in New Chicago, a young teacher pointed to a star map showing the known galaxy. Before we met the Galactic Alliance, she told her students, humans could only dream about traveling to the stars. We wondered if we were alone in the universe. Now we know that the galaxy is full of intelligent life, and humanity has found its place among them. A small boy raised his hand. Ms. Peterson, my grandpa fought in the Void-Born War. He said when he first met aliens, they didn't think humans could help them win. Is that true? The teacher nodded. That's right, Joey. The Alliance had been losing the war for 30 years. Victory seemed impossible. Then humanity's fierce soldiers showed up. She turned back to the star map, pointing to a blinking light at the edge of known space. And now, our explorers are out there discovering new worlds and facing new challenges. The galaxy is vast, and we've only just begun to discover its wonders and dangers. As she spoke, the Discovery continued its journey toward the unknown threat. Whatever awaited them in the Zalon system, humanity would face it the same way they had faced the Void-Born, with courage, creativity, and an unwavering determination to protect not just their own world now, but all the worlds of their new galactic family. The war was over, but humanity's greatest adventures were just beginning.